What's up, Tweener? Welcome back to another Tweener tennis video today here on the channel. Today we have a very special interview for you guys all the way from Parma, Italy. We got to interview Jonny O'Mara, a Davis Cup player, a 2022 ATP Tour level title winner. He won in Sofia with fellow Brit Ken Skupski, who is a friend of the channel, I must say. But Jonny was gracious enough to join us from the Parma Challenger in Italy, sponsored by MEF Events. So big shout out to them for coordinating this interview. It was a lot of fun talking to Jonny about his career so far, what we should expect from him in the upcoming tournaments, as well as being very honest about his own game and what it takes to be a top-level doubles player. So I really do appreciate Jonny being on the channel with us today. So make sure to go show him some love with his socials down in the description below. And guys, if you are new to the channel and you do like this type of content, make sure to show your appreciation. Over 85% of you that are watching this right now are not subscribed to the channel. What are we doing? Hit that subscribe button. We're trying to hit 3,000 by the end of this year, and I hope to see you again soon. Thank you guys so much for watching. Enjoy the interview. Jonny?
Hey mate, how's it going?
Good, how are you, man?
Yeah, I'm well, thanks.
Well, Jonny, thank you for joining us all the way from Parma, Italy. I really appreciate you being here with us on the Tweener Head Tennis channel. How are you feeling this week coming into the tournament?
Yeah, feeling good. I didn't expect to be on clay this late in the year. It's not what I would have preferred to be doing, but yeah, it's a nice tournament and got off to a nice start. So yeah, feeling good.
You're coming into this tournament as the 2 seed, am I correct?
Yeah, I think so.
Is that something that you look into a lot when it comes to tournaments, or someone of your caliber going into a challenger tournament when you know you're going to be one of the top seeds at a tournament?
I mean, it's probably something you think of to, you want to maybe play with a partner who you're going to get seeded with, because, you obviously want to try and give yourself the best chance to make semis and so on. So I guess that's something you think about. But I mean, it's kind of anybody at this level can beat you and stuff. But I guess you try and give yourself the best shot. So yeah, it's always a bonus if you can get a little seeding.
It definitely does help in some ways in terms of scheduling and figuring out when or where you're going to play. So for you, coming into a tournament like this, in terms of scheduling, you said before we started recording that clay is not something that you expected to be playing at this point or at this stage in the calendar year. Can you walk us or the listeners through that as to why someone may or may not be playing on clay, or why they would choose something to play on this late in the calendar year?
Yeah, I mean, I was playing with Ken Skupski for most of the year, and he retired at Wimbledon, which was a shame. But I obviously didn't have a set partner after that, and it's kind of you're trying to hustle for partners each week and stuff until something feels right, something kind of it clicks, and until that happens, you kind of just have to be ready to play whatever. So I mean, yeah, I was busy at Davis Cup. I was helping at Davis Cup for the GB team, and I probably wasn't so organized with getting partners and getting tournaments. So I was kind of doing scheduling last minute, and yeah, last week I was playing in Orléans in France with a British guy that I wanted to go and have a good enjoy the week and enjoy tennis, and then yeah, I mean, I was planning on playing the other tournament that was there. It's in Milleron. I've won there before, so I was kind of wanting to play that again, but I was messaging people, and there wasn't many people available. Nobody really wanted to play, so I ended up messaging Oswald, and he told me that I said I wanted to play on indoor hard. It's my favorite surface, and he told me he lives like a 4-hour drive to Parma, so
that does help.
I mean, he's obviously a great player, and he's had a great career. So I kind of chose to have a good partner, and I can play on clay as well. So it wasn't too hard an adjustment.
That's interesting you say that too. When it comes to dealing with doubles, and I feel like a lot of people don't understand what goes into in terms of scheduling and understanding how far in advance you have to plan something out or a tournament to play with one particular person, and especially when you travel by yourself. What goes into, at least for your own personal experience, what goes into scheduling partners for each tournament, or what's that process like for you?
Yeah, I'm going to be honest, you're probably asking the wrong person for this. I'm probably the worst organized doubles player in maybe the top 250.
Why do you say that?
I mean, I like to, in life in general, I like to kind of just go day by day.
Okay.
So it's quite difficult when you then have to, you have to plan out where you're going to be in 3 weeks, 4 weeks, 5 weeks. I always find that quite difficult looking ahead and stuff. So yeah, it's not something that I'm great at. It's definitely easier when, you have a set partner, and, when I was playing with Ken, we could, well, I kind of let him do it, but we kind of decide what the schedule will be, and then, you're in a certain rankings. But it's also difficult being, in my ranking bracket right now. I think I've been probably from 50 to 100 for the last 3-4 years. It's a difficult ranking because, you get in some ATP events, you don't get into others, so you kind of just have to be ready last minute to kind of adjust to whatever's going to happen. But yeah, I mean, I quite like living in the moment and just kind of and seeing what happens, seeing how the chips fall. So I'm definitely not the most organized.
Well, I mean, that's everyone. I don't think you should take credit away from you for being as organized as a disorganized person as you are. And I hope that means no offense to you, but it's the reality of the situation, right?
Yeah, kind of. I mean, I definitely get it. No ways about that. But yeah, it's just kind of what works for me. I mean, other people need to have everything planned down to the last minute, and I think I like Jamie Murray, for example. I think he pretty much has his flights booked out for the whole year, which is, I mean, that's smart, and I think quite a lot of players are like that, and that's what helps them. But for me, probably, I don't enjoy that as much. I probably don't play as well when it's all as structured as that. I like a bit more chaos in my life. So yeah, it's maybe something I can improve, but it helps, and for me, it's a nice way of playing, and you enjoy the week you're in. You don't look too far ahead, and I think that's important.
Is that the mentality that you go into each match with, and it seems like you loved your controlled chaos? It's not too chaotic where you don't know what you're doing, but you can control what you need to do. Is that correct?
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, I mean, it's I love a bit of chaos. I think my coach always jokes about it. He always sends me a message, saying enjoy the chaos out there. And it's it's a fun part of it. It's difficult to. It can be difficult at times, kind of playing this schedule and kind of having such a busy schedule, 35 weeks of the year. I think doubles guys should be playing and kind of going to the same events, seeing the same things. So, so yeah, I just kind of play it better when like I said, I take the week for what it is, and that's what happens. If I start planning stuff ahead, maybe I get too locked into thinking about ranking points, or where am I going to be in 3 weeks if I lose this match or if I win this match. So I just kind of I take it day for day, and I do that in not just in tennis, just in other stuff as well.
So how does that translate to your game? If you were to describe your game to those who haven't watched you particularly, how would you describe it compared to other doubles players? Do you think it's similar, or do you think you have your own unique style?
I always when I watch some of my matches back, I always quite enjoy watching myself play, because I think I'm pretty average, but I'm good enough in every area to make the match seem like it's a pretty good match. So I always laugh and joke we have a doubles coach, Louis Caillet, and he's a brilliant doubles coach, and the way he coaches the British guys is a very structured, and it's the right, it's exactly what you should be doing.
Mm-hmm.
But I feel like at times, I don't really have the game to be doing that. I don't have a huge serve, and I like to, I make a lot of returns and stuff. So I feel like every match is, when it's my service games, they're always close service games, long rallies. When I'm returning, I feel like I make quite a lot of returns. So there's a few rallies there. So yeah, I think I'm quite enjoyable to watch, but pretty average.
I think that's the most candid answer I think I've ever had someone tell me when it comes to telling me how their game style is.
Yeah, well, I mean, a lot of the British guys, especially at the moment, they're clinical. Like, I think Lloyd Glasgow is playing great, Salisbury, Neil Skupski, and they have such a clinical way of playing, but I don't think, I'd probably tell them this myself, I don't think they're very, very exciting to watch. They go big serve, and the volley guy knocks it off, whereas, I can't do that. So I'm a lot more average than them, but maybe I'm more enjoyable to watch, I don't know.
It's funny that you say that too, because it seems like you guys are very humble with each other in the way you give back, not just feedback about your own game, but about their game as well. And how important, and it makes me think, how honest do you have to be with yourself in terms of playing, and not just your game, but others as well when it comes to tennis? Is that something you pride yourself on, in being how, some people would say blunt, but I appreciate the honesty.
Yeah, probably. I mean, you can, it's always good as well to, to bluff it, even if you don't believe, you have that sort of level or something. If you kind of force yourself to play. I mean, I also know that, at times I can play some really high level. And it's just kind of being able to try and put that in, every week and stuff, which is tough. But I mean, you've got to look in the mirror and see what you see, and deal with that.
And what kind of piece of advice would you give doubles players when it comes to approaching the game?
That's a good question. I'm not sure. I mean, I think the main thing is, in doubles in tennis, you have to enjoy it. I feel like I try to play it in a way that, maybe looks like I'm enjoying myself, which I think is important.
Mm-hmm.
I wouldn't really have any more advice than that, other than just go out, enjoy it, have a swing, and see what happens.
I like that mentality, because it keeps going back to the idea of being humble. It keeps you honest with what you need to do or what you need to improve. And for you, coming through the ranks, what was a harsh reality when you first came to tour, when you started playing doubles on a more competitive scale?
Well, I mean, the margins in doubles are so slim, and I think when I was playing in a lower level, winning a lot of matches, you get into a routine of just winning and stuff, and then you're just kind of on a roll. Whereas when you get to the higher level, you're going to lose a lot more matches, and you can go like 2, 3, 4 weeks without playing much tennis. You can have a few first rounds, and that's very difficult to come back from. It's so hard to play when you are on a bad run, because it's if you're playing singles, you can kind of play some matches where you feel like you've played well, and you can have the confidence to then move with that. Whereas in doubles, I feel like you can lose 11-9 3-4 times in a row, and just kind of feel like you've not even been in the match. So it's difficult to kind of change those matches and get through that period. I think that's the main thing. It's just difficult in doubles to get out of a bad patch, because you don't really have much time to play. You have to, you just have to go and hit the shots. Where singles, maybe you can change your tactics a bit more and find a way to win a bit easier, maybe.
It's interesting that you say that, because I want to circle back to when you said it was difficult being ranked between the 50 to 100s. And for you, getting into that routine of finding consistent matches, is it hard staying within that level of, I guess, top 50 doubles when I feel like there aren't as many chances for double specialists to continuously play throughout the year?
I think the toughest thing that I've probably found is that, I've played some matches, I've had some great wins against the top guys, and I've been on the court and feel like I'm playing, a similar sort of level to them. But I think maybe, I don't know if it's the rankings, because obviously, the guys at the top are obviously playing, they're winning one match and maybe taking home 180 points or 360 points. So I feel like you have to, to really break into the top of the game in doubles. I'm not sure how it is in singles and stuff, but in doubles it feels like you have to be, better than the best, if you know what I mean. Like you have to beat them on a regular basis to then get where they are. Whereas, if you're the similar level to them and you can compete now and then, you don't get many opportunities to. I mean, basically, for guys at that ranking, it's the Grand Slams and that's it. Because you can only do so much damage in the 200, the 250s. So you almost feel like you have to be better than the best players, which is, it's obviously difficult to do that because, they are the best for a reason.
Yeah, and it seems like you have to be more consistent than singles players. And like you said, you can't go week in, week out playing 1 to 2 matches and then go and play a tournament immediately the next week. It seems like you have to go deep into a tournament in order to see yourself rise up in the rankings.
Yeah, pretty much. And then that's obviously, again, at my ranking, that's the slams, which, is never easy to do. They're the toughest tournaments for a reason.
I totally agree. And for you guys as well, and I don't want to take up too much of your time because I just appreciate you guys, you being here with us. And for the format, at least, we always see this kind of idea of changing it for singles players, but for doubles, it seems to be pretty consistent across the board. What's your personal opinion on having different formats in tennis when it comes to different levels or different majors, when it could be a third set, a super breaker, or it could be a play out third set?
Yeah, 100%. I think I don't know who I was talking to this about recently, but I think at times the tennis tour it's a bit too similar. Like every tournament is kind of the same. I'd be a lot more up for, even in singles and doubles, singles as well, like I think every 250 tournament should maybe have a different scoring system just so that it's, different viewing and stuff, whereas at times you can kind of just get in a routine of everything's the same, nothing really changes. I think it'd be so interesting if different tournaments had, I don't know, first to 4, best of 5 sets, just to change it up and see what happens. And I think I was speaking to someone about the balls, because I don't think many people would know, like, the difference between tennis balls. Like sometimes, I played a tournament last week with, I think it was head balls, and and it makes the condition really slow. It's difficult. And then this week I'm using Dunlop balls, which make it faster. And there's something I said that, like, I don't understand why, when everything is the same every week, that they use different balls. Like, it doesn't really make sense. They should use one ball for hard courts, one ball for clay, and one ball for grass. Like, they don't need to, every different week is a different ball. But I also said it'd be interesting if, 1 week they told everybody we're using a really fast ball this week because we want to see more serve volleying kind of thing, or this week we're using a heavier, slower ball because we want to see longer rallies. I kind of thought that would be interesting, just to kind of mix it up a bit and see different matches.
I love that mentality of trying different things, and I think a lot of people in tennis are either trying to keep it the same way or be very traditionalist, and then there's others that are trying to mix it up, like you said, with just different balls or different formats. And there seems to be a contrast of opinion about it, wouldn't you think?
Yeah, I mean, I think the slams and stuff should always stay the same way. I mean, I know they're changing like fifth sets and doing all that different. I think the slams are the slams, but for me, all I know is just I'm a huge fan of tennis. I love the game. I love to watch tennis. And if there's a tournament on next week, like I think this week, for example, there's two tournaments, Astana and Tokyo, both 500s. Now, if you had one of them, and I haven't really watched. I've only really watched if Dan Evans was playing. He's played the last few days, and I've watched him. But if one of them was, I don't know, let's go two singles and a match tiebreak, 2 sets and a match tiebreak in singles. I know that I would watch that.
Okay.
And then if the week after they did, like I said, start a set from 2-all, they go first to 4, best of 5. I know I'd watch that. I wasn't really into like the next gen stuff. I didn't really want to watch that. But
really? How come?
Well, just because I didn't really see it as that interesting, like the young guys kind of stuff. But then as soon as I found out it was like best of 5, first to 4, I was like, yeah, I'll watch that. Like that's interesting. That's different. So yeah, I think there's a place for a bit of change here and there. I don't see why not. And especially at the lower events, the 250s, the 500s, I don't see why we can't change it up. I think it could be exciting.
I love that, Johnny. That's a very. I love that take because tennis is such a. I wouldn't say a niche sport, but for those that primarily watch it, that only watch the slams, they only get a taste of what really happens on tour. So having that new audience come in with different formats could be a benefit for not just audiences, but for players as well.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, I love the sport. I love tennis, and I mean, it doesn't matter who's on the tennis court. I mean, I don't like playing them; they're nerve-wracking. But I will watch a match tiebreak, regardless of who it is, because you get to see drama, or, whatever happens. So, and I watched a lot of the Laver Cup, and I mean, those boys play. I mean, for me, there was nothing better than watching the big guys play doubles. For me, that was so entertaining because these guys they're obviously incredible in singles, but I mean, if they wanted the way they play in doubles, if they wanted to like win a slam or something, they would, because they're the best. They're unbelievable. So watching them, play doubles and stuff and match tiebreaks and singles, I mean, I loved it. And again, I didn't have much interest in Laver Cup until you kind of go, it's match tiebreaks, it's team points. Yeah, I'm going to watch this. So I mean, everyone's different, and that's why the world goes around. So you can't really, you got to be open-minded and see what happens.
Oh, 100%. And Johnny, I really do appreciate you taking time out of your day to talk to us. This was a really fun conversation. And for those that are listening that want to follow Johnny on his journey, is there somewhere in terms of social media that people can follow you?
I mean, I'm on Instagram, but I'm pretty quiet on it. So I have Instagram, I have Twitter, but I'm fairly low key.
That's totally fine. We'll have you be the biggest quiet account on social media. So make sure to go follow Johnny on all of those. And Johnny, thank you again for doing this, and good luck this week.
No worries. Thanks so much.
No worries.